I'd like to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. Thank you very much. I know you're all very busy, and I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about the wonderful product that Outlook is and what it can do and how you can maybe tweak some of the things you do on a day-to-day basis to help make things better. All right, I'm going to be using Office Outlook products 2016 and 365 to talk about, show you what capabilities Outlook has. I am going to be covering things that are backwards compatible, meaning if you have any of the Outlook products, you can do what I'm going to be showing you today. The look might be a little bit different, and how you get to each of those additional quick tips might be a little bit different depending on the version. I'm also going to be using a Windows-based system, so if you use Mac, some of the hotkeys that I'm going to be talking about may not correspond directly into your product. If you have any questions, or would you like me to give you a detailed explanation for your version of Outlook, please do not hesitate to send me an email after today's webinar. My email is nick@coopertech.net, and I will respond as soon as possible. Really quickly, I am going to be covering the following topics during today's webinar. Outlook is a very broad product. There are a lot of things, and it is very customizable to your specific settings and make it look in a very particular way that is useful to you and how you organize things. So today, I'm going to start off by talking about some general changes that Microsoft has made to the Outlook platform and how you can change how it looks. We're going to talk about styles and to-do bar. I'm going to talk quickly about some shortcuts or hotkeys, depending on how you want to talk about it. I will be providing this presentation to you after today's webinar, so you can check out the hotkeys and shortcuts. I would recommend doing that. In general, the more hotkeys or shortcuts that you use, the easier your day-to-day interaction with the Microsoft products can. We'll talk a little bit about inbox organization tips. We'll talk about some best practices. I'm going to talk about something called Categorize, which is new in 2013 and on. I'm going to talk about something called Conditional Formatting inside of Outlook. I'm going to talk about rules, subfolders, and some warnings associated with those. We will also talk about something called Quick Parts, which will help when you're writing a lot of emails that have similar text inside of them. And at the very end, I'm going to talk a little bit about tasks, creating a task in your inbox, and how to use some of the other features that come with the Outlook product. At each of these sections, after I talk about a particular aspect of it, I will be pausing for questions, so do not hesitate. I am planning to only have about 30 minutes worth of conversation or topic to talk about, and this is totally dependent upon you. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to pop in, and I'll be do my best to answer, or let you know that I'll look up and get back to you if I don't have the answer right off the top of my head. So with that, I'm going to jump right in to Outlook. Everybody who opens up Outlook is probably the view that you open it into. If you're using an older version, this left side is a little bit different in 2013 and 2016 and on version of it, so don't get bothered by that. The general flow of it is the same. Really quickly, the first shortcut I'm going to talk about is if you do use more than just the email portion of your Outlook product, like your calendars or your tasks, you can easily switch between the views by hitting Control and the number. So for example, Control 2 will take you to your calendar, Control 3 will take you to your contact page, Control 4 will take you to your tasks, and Control 1 will take you back into your email. So that's just something really quick to do if you do want to quickly use other aspects of your Outlook product. The other quick thing I really want to mention is across all newer Microsoft products, they have at the top what they're calling the ribbon bar, which is this little bar right here at the top of the screen. This has all of the quick icon-based buttons that allows you to navigate and use the Microsoft products. The ribbon has tabs at the top, what we call ribbon tabs. For your mail, it would be home, send and receive, your folder, and your view. We're going to talk a little bit how to customize how Outlook looks. As you get involved and start to use Outlook more in your day-to-day business, you may find you want to change how it looks, and this is where you can start to do that. But first off, just a very base thing, this blue bar at the top, for some people is a little bit, they don't like the color as much, so I'm going to show you quickly how you can change that. If you click on the File button that pops up in the 2013 on, Outlook, this wonderful little tab on it, down at the bottom, you have something called options. If you click on the options, you can get a bunch of different customizable features of Outlook. I would recommend, if you do have a downtime during your day, 10 to 15 minutes, just to look through all of the options you have for customizing your Outlook. Like I said, the Outlook program itself is extremely customizable for each view, for each aspect of Outlook. It would be behoove you just to take a couple seconds to look through what you can change, just so you're aware of it. So for Office 2013, 16, and Microsoft 365 products, you have this little section here that allows you to change the view or how the actual product looks. It starts off as the default colorful, which is this blue bar at the top. Personally, I like the dark gray. So you can change that to, and it will change all of your Office products to a particular view, depending on what you want to do or how you want to look at your product. So I would recommend taking a second after today's webinar and just try to find a view that you like the best for your product. The other thing to talk about really quickly when we're talking about the view is right here in this section up here at the top. By default, Microsoft will sort your incoming email by the date, time that is received. There is a set number of quick options that you can change how it's sorted to. Up here, for example, if you wanted to change it who they're coming from, that will reorganize your inbox by who the email is coming from. Or if you wanted to, if you're cleaning out your email box, you want to remove larger files, you can also do it by the size of the email with the largest attachments. You can also do it by the subject of it. So this is where you can quickly change how Microsoft is organizing your email. This can also be done by clicking on this by subject portion of it. There's a little downward facing triangle, or some people call it a hat. This can be easily selected here as well. So it just depends on how you want to sort your email coming in. The other thing that you can change really quickly is you can change the number of lines the message preview is. The message preview is in any received email, there is a line of text that is displayed. By default, it is set as one line. If you want a very compact view, you can select to turn it off. It will prompt you with choosing whether or not you want to apply this setting to just the folder you're in or to all the folders that are in your mailboxes. If you click on that, it will then make the change inside of your view. If at any time when you're playing with this view and you want to undo it, the quickest way is up here. There is a reset view button. If you click on that, it will ask you if you want to really change it back. You hit yes, and it will undo all of the changes you have done. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to largest at 3 lines. Now you can see the 3 lines or 1 line. It just depends on what is comfortable for you to view. The other aspect of the 2013 and on is the folder pane view. You can turn it to its minimized so that on the left, the email box folders are shortened and to hide it away so it doesn't get in the way of your viewing of the product. If you have minimized this and you want to get it back, you can pin it. This is true also of the ribbon bar at the top, just in case this has ever happened to you. If you've accidentally closed that ribbon and you want to have that ribbon back, if you click on any tab, there will be a small pin in the upper right corner. You can achieve this by hitting Control F1 or Control Shift F1 to undo or make it as big as you want. Again, that's the ribbon bar, and that's pinning and unpinning on the view. Going back to the View tab here, you can also customize where your reading pane is. The reading pane is referring to this section here, which shows you a preview or the actual internal part of the email. You can have it default set on the right, but you can have it at the bottom of the page, or you can turn it off altogether so all you see is your inbox. Again, this is totally dependent on what is better for you and your day-to-day tasks. So find a system that works for you or a view that you find to be useful, and then use that That's what I would recommend. The other aspect with Office 2013 and on is you do have the option of having a to-do bar. The to-do bar has different aspects of it. You can have a calendar, which will automatically, whenever you open your Outlook, it will have this little calendar in the upper right. You can turn it so that you have people. If you want to search your contacts, you can have a searching pane on it, or you can have your tasks, which is the Microsoft Outlook product for keeping a to-do list inside of your product. You can turn off individual portions of this or leave it all on. In the newer versions of Microsoft Outlook, they do have something called a people pane. What the people pane is if you're having an email correspondence with any of your people, it will show up a little bit of a history of what you have sent to and had a conversation of with that person at the bottom of the reading pane. You can have it as a minimized or a normal. It just depends on what is useful to you. Again, that's the to-do pane and the people pane. So there's a lot of customization that is available in how Microsoft looks or how your email in particular appears to you on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can customize the actual appearance of the emails inside of your Outlook, as well as talk about how to organize things and some best practices associated with this. Personally, one of my favorite things that comes with the newer versions of Outlook is the ability to show things as a conversation. What this means is if you have a correspondence back and forth with any particular person, all of the emails exchanged on that particular thread will be grouped together. So for example, in my inbox, I had a conversation with Mike here, and it gives me this little white arrow. And inside of that white arrow, we have a tracking of all the conversations that I have had with him back and forth. And I can easily collapse that down so it doesn't take up much space inside of my email inbox. I can also open it up in case I want to review what is said. This also includes emails that I have sent out to Mike in the same email thread. The way you can turn this on is in the View tab on your ribbon bar. There is a Show as Conversations checkbox. If you click the Show as Conversations checkbox, it'll ask you if you want to apply this to all messages or all mailboxes or just that one folder that you're looking at, and you can choose the one that you want to do. I personally find that having the Show as Conversations enabled makes the organization of my inbox much better and easier to deal with. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab really quickly, and we're going to talk about some of the icons at the top here in regards to how you can deal with incoming email. So there is a section here called Quick Steps. A lot of people aren't aware that it's here, or they notice it and just ignore it. What the Quick Steps does is it lets you quickly do a particular action to any incoming email. So for example, I have this email from Brandy here, it's a forwarded email. Let's say I needed to pass this on to the team. So I can click on Team Email, and this will pop up with an email to the team, and I can set who this is going to. For example, let's say my team is going to be Aaron and Brandy. So whenever I get an email and I want to send it to the team, I can save that when I click on the team email, it will automatically forward that on to them in regards to this. Here is something interesting. Right, and I can send it to them, and that will automatically do it. You can set these quick steps to do whatever you want to do. The way that you can customize that is you click the little down arrow here, and that will pop up with the menu of what's there, what's not shown, and you can click on Manage Quick Steps, and this allows you to create new quick steps. So you can say that you want to be able to quickly move emails coming into a folder, or maybe you want to create a meeting. Whatever the task is, this is where you can modify that or create a new task or an action based on something. So you have these quick steps buttons at the top. The other thing, really quickly, I want to talk about is something called Categorize. This is a newer feature of Microsoft Outlook starting in 2013 and on. Categorize allows you to set up a quick way to sort through your email by whatever the category you have. By default, you have these categories: blue, green, orange, purple, red, and yellow. To set them, you just click on Categorize and you hit on blue. It will ask you if you want to use that name, if you want to create a shortcut key for it. And then once you've done that, it will cause this little blue button to appear next to the time of the email, as well as create a little category bar across the top. This is just, again, depending on how your workflow is, this might be how you want to organize your emails. One of the things you can do with the categories is you can actually change the name of them. By default, they're just named by the colors, but you can rename them at any time to say, let's say this is important messages. All right, and you click on OK, and now all of these tags are going to be popping up as important messages so everybody can see them. And if you want to add more categories, if you don't, you're not comfortable, or if you need more categories, you can always just add a new one at any time and call it whatever you want to do. You can assign shortcut keys if you want to. Again, it's very customizable to what you want to do. So that's one way you can organize your incoming emails, is by just adding a category to it. A lot of people will set up rules. The way that you can set up rules, there's two easy ways to set up or set a rule for incoming emails. The easiest way is if you have a mail in your inbox, if you right-click on it, again, that's right-click on it, it will pop up with a menu of all the things you can do with it. You can obviously set categorize, set it at importance level to the email, but you can also go down to rules, and you can create a rule based on what Microsoft automatically detects from this email. So I can create a rule for all messages that come from Brandy Eisner, for example, and it will pop up with a menu on what I can do with it. For example, the rules and alert. I'm going to have this move it, for example, have a move all emails to clients. And now all incoming emails from Brandy Eisner will be moved into the clients folder. And it will search through your existing rules, your existing emails first when you set that. The other way you can manage your rules associated with any of your settings is in the File tab under Manage Rules and Alerts. You can click on that and it will pop up with your existing rules. If you want to get rid of a rule or delete a rule, it's simply you can just hit the delete button and it will delete the rule. Now, be aware that when you remove a rule, it will only be for incoming emails. Any emails from today on that you receive will be sorted out differently than any ones that you've received to date. So once you remove a rule, it does not go back and change any changes or any movements or any actions that you've already applied to the emails. It will only be for new incoming stuff on that. All right, so I'm going to move on really quickly. Another way to one quick conversation about rules. When you do set up a rule to automatically sort your incoming email, I would recommend in general, when you're organizing your inbox, to not have what I call a nested inbox folder. What I mean by a nested inbox folder is if you have an inbox, and let's say you have clients and you want to indicate somebody who's a major client, so you have your inbox folder, your client folder, and your major client folder. The major client folder is what I would call a nested folder. The reason why I would not recommend having nested folders when you do have rules is that if you do automatically sort your email into a nested folder, and I'll show you what in a second. If I go through, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark all of these messages red, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second if you're interested. But when you have a nested folder, there might be a new email that's inside the nested folder, but if you do not have the folder that it is inside of expanded, it will not indicate that there is a new email in that folder. So when you do create rules, best practices are that any email forwarding or shifting that you're doing automatically does not go into a folder that's inside of another folder. So you don't want to have an inbox folder and then move all of the email correspondence, for example, inside of a major clients folder that's inside of a client, because any email that's coming into the major clients folder will not indicate to you that you have a new email. So that's just a general best practices tip on how to do things. The other aspect of how to sort emails really quickly is to use something called a search folder. This is a option that is available in 2013 on, and it is possible to do it in 2010 and earlier. To talk about this or to use this feature, you go to the folder tab in your email section, and you just click on new search folder, and that will pop up with a dialog box. For this search folder, you can say, for example, look for all unread email. So we'll go ahead and use this as an example. If you click on OK, it will create down here in a new area, not in your inbox, but underneath your inbox, there's a little area called search folders. And in that will be all of the folders associated with that particular title. So for example, in this case, it's unread email. So it will go through my entire inbox and pull out all unread emails. This is also useful if you want to look for emails, or if you're expecting to receive emails in regards to a major project or from a particular group inside of your organization. You can do that in the same way. So I'm going to set one up really quickly here. I'm going to have all the emails that come from Ajay in my office sorted out into a search folder. The way you do that is you select the person, you click on from or sent to, and it'll automatically add them to that. Now, one thing I do want to mention in this particular dialog box is this address book portion of it. You can, if you have multiple address books, you can specify different groups from which it's going to pull those addresses. So just be aware that if you don't find it in whatever the default address book is that pops up, if you're looking for to sort email by a particular person, you can click on this little address book box and choose a different option to see if you can find the address that you're looking for. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on OK. And what that does now is it'll go through my inbox and it'll find all emails that are from Ajay and pull them out into a separate search folder. Again, it doesn't actually move any of the emails from my inbox. It just creates a quick way for me to find emails associated with a particular person or a subject line or any of the other aspects of the search folders that you can program. And so it's very useful. This is how I actually organize my own personal emails. This is how it works best for me. But like I said, everybody has a different way of organizing. So find a way that works for you, and then you can use that moving forward. Before I move on, are there any questions about the search folders and how to set up search folders? All right, so getting on to the next aspect that I want to quickly talk about is something called conditional formatting. Conditional formatting gives you some play in how emails are displayed inside of your inbox, which allows you to highlight certain types of emails, a different way of organizing. To get into how you change the view, or rather to get into the conditional formatting, you go to the View tab. In this section here, there's this little caret that goes down. In it, you can see View Settings. Again, to get there, you click on this little, in this box section on the 2013 and 2016 product. You click on the little box that pops down with options. You click on your View Settings, and it'll pop up with, say, an advanced view settings. And in here, you can do all of the things that you can do through either the icon clicking or through clicking on the text inside of the message box or the inbox view. In this advanced view settings, there's something called conditional formatting. You click on conditional formatting, and it has by default some things that will automatically do. For example, it will set the font color for all new incoming emails to be blue, but you can change this if you want to any color or any state, font style, or font itself. You can make it bigger, for example, if you wanted to. And if you click on OK, for example, and OK, then whenever there's a new email, that text will be bigger. Again, that's in the, you press the little down button under the view settings in the conditional formatting. The reason why I want to talk about this really quickly is you can always add a new one. So we're going to create a new one. Say, for example, if I want to use Kevin, I'll click on here in a second. So I want all emails that come from Kevin to be formatted in a different way. Let's say I want them to be red. I want it to be a different font, and I want it to be really big. For whatever reason, a lot of people will use this if you have incoming messages from major clients and you want to make sure you do not miss them, or if you have a manager and you want to highlight any messages that come from the manager. So once you set the type of font you want or the look you want, you need to click on the condition, right? So in the condition, it gives you a lot of options on what it is. It can be a subject. It can be somebody who's sending an email from, or somebody to whom you have sent an email to. In this case, I'm going to use all emails that are going to come from Kevin. So I just need to find his email. I'll just type it in, it's faster, Kevin. At coopertech.net. I click on OK, I click on OK, I click on OK, I click on OK, and it will apply that to the emails that come from Kaylau moving forward. So that's conditional formatting. It's very powerful. You can set it to, for example, if you are working on a project and you want to highlight that project and everybody's going to be sending an email to, I don't know, new email program at customer is the title, then you can sort all emails that come from that particular person or that particular subject to have a particular color, easier for you to find. Again, this is all just about how you organize your inbox to make it easier for you to find and have a day-to-day interaction with your email. So I'm going to move on to the next part that I want to talk about, which is I'm going to talk a little bit about tasks and what they are and how to quickly create tasks or use tasks inside of Microsoft Office Outlook. So really quickly, the tasks are found in the tasks page. And this is just a very simple to-do list item that Microsoft has. So from this page, whenever you go to a different aspect of Microsoft Outlook, the top menu items do change. So just be aware that in each one of these, you do have different options for customizing how Outlook works. We're just going to use the default settings currently. So at the top, you can just hit on New Task, and this just creates a task that's very simple. You can write in a Outlook webinar. You can set a time that or a date that it needs to be done. You can set a due date for it, and you can also indicate whether it's started or not started or completed when you start the task. So once you create a task, you can save and close. It'll appear inside of your to-do list here. If you want to create a category to help search it, you can do it. There's a lot of options there. If you want to really quickly to use this particular aspect, because I find it very useful in my own life, you can quickly go ahead and just right-click on it. If you want to say you've done something, you mark complete, and it'll go away. In the view section, you can pull up all of the tasks you have completed in the past if you want to. Again, this is something that's very useful to do and use. However, the reason why I find it particularly useful is if I have an email that comes in from somebody and they're asking me to do something, Microsoft has developed the ability to kind of search through what's inside of the text of the email and will identify that there may be some actions in it, and it'll indicate that by having this bar, this highlighted bar, depending on the view that you're looking in, whether you set it to dark gray like I have or you have the colorful view, this bar color will be different. but it'll say action items. What this means is that Microsoft has looked through this, his Outlook has said, hey, there might be something in this particular email that is a task. You click on that and it will tell you, hey, I think I found something, and it will go through and it'll say, hey, one of these things might be a task. So you can go ahead and say, yeah, this is a task, I need to follow up on this. And it will flag that email as having a task. And when you do that, in your task menu section of your Outlook, it will pop up with a to-do task. Again, to get the to-do box over here inside of your Outlook, the way you get that is on your view bar, you hit on the to-do bar and you click on your tasks. Now, this will create this task and you can quickly reference that task. If you double click on it, it'll open up the email from which it thinks there was a task. You said there is a task. You can also right click and do the same thing. You can mark it as complete and say I've done it, or you can remove it from the list if you don't think you want to. You can set categories to it if you wanted to, and it will apply that category back into the message. So if you do a lot of correspondence where you need to make sure you are following up on emails or have tasks associated with it, this ability to create those tasks based off of an email is very useful. So that's a very short introduction into some of the advanced features that are inside of Microsoft Outlook that can be beneficial to your day-to-day workflow. I'd be more than happy to have a more one-on-one session with anybody. Please send me an email at nick@coopertech.net if you have any questions or any things you want to have a little more instruction on, and I'll try to work a way to get in touch with you to help you out a little bit more one-on-one. I am going to quickly ask if there are any more questions, then I'll go back into how you can change the overall Outlook or Office products view to change the color from colorful to dark gray, for example. So to change the overall way that Microsoft products appear, you click on File, and this is true of any Microsoft product. If it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you can change the view on all of them through this same way. You click on File, and there will be an Options menu. In the Options menu, in the General section of it, there's a little block where it talks about personalizing your Microsoft Office program. And there's something called an Office theme, and in that Office theme, you can change that to a number of different styles. I personally like dark gray. I know some people like the cleaner look of the white, which is a more traditional Microsoft Office product look. Again, to change that, you just click on Options, and in the Personalize Your Copy of Microsoft Office section, you can change how it appears. The one thing, unfortunately, Microsoft has not yet implemented is you don't have a preview of what it will look like. So I would recommend you take a second and play with the different views to find one that is comfortable for you to see. One more time, I'll show you. It's the Options, and then you select your Office theme, and you choose the one that best fits your day-to-day view, makes it easier for you to see. All right, well, thank you all very much. Again, I appreciate you attending today's webinar. As I said, if there are any follow-on questions or anything you want to me to go over for your particular version of Microsoft Outlook, like I said, all of the things that I showed you you are capable to do in any version of Outlook. It's just a question of how it's done. I'll be more than happy to send you some more detailed information. So don't hesitate to contact me. My contact information is nick@coopertech.net. I want to thank you all again, and I hope you have a very pleasant day.